The United States men's national team finally returns to action in the Nations League against El Salvador and Grenada.
We'll be there.
Do you care though?
We'll be there.
So with any upcoming camp, we're going to be doing another preferred roster that I think Anthony Hudson should call up. Mostly a team full of A guys from the World Cup, but also maybe a few new guys who haven't played a lot recently, but I think could play a part moving forward for 2026. So with further ado, let's dive into this roster. Although before I do, I want to say, I know it's been a minute since I posted videos. I just kind of want to get back into the swing of doing this. I quite enjoyed it, and I've missed doing it for the past few months. But yeah, let's do it. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It would be very appreciated. So let's dig into it. Alright, so looking at who should make the roster for the U.S. men's national team this upcoming March. But before we do, let's look at the table real quick. We currently sit at 1 point behind El Salvador with 1 game in hand. So at the end of the day, all we need to do is beat one of Grenada or El Salvador and draw the other game. But the reality is, if we don't win both of these games, then some serious questions should be asked. But we should be able to get the job done, so let's go straight into that roster. Alright, so starting off with the goalkeepers, we have Matt Turner, who's the undisputed #1. We have Ethan Horvath, who's playing very good for Luton Town in the championship. Has had a few bad games here and there, but I think overall has been better than Zach Steffen since going to the championship. So he should be on this roster as the #2. And as my third option, I'm going to go with Gaga Slonina because I just think it's more valuable to bring a guy who I think could be a long-term piece and is very good in Gaga Slonina. I thought he had a very good game against Serbia back in that January camp, and he would just be sitting with Chelsea's second team anyway. So I think the investment of just having a young guy with a lot of potential, getting integrated and playing a lot and some good training reps would definitely be more beneficial as to having a guy like Zach Steffen or Sean Johnson. Alright, so moving on to our outside backs, Anthony Robinson is the undisputed #1 at that left back spot, playing very good for Fulham right now. My #2 left back, I'm going to go with DeJuan Jones over John Tolkien. I like DeJuan Jones, what I saw from him in that January camp. Pretty decent with the ball at his feet, is good going forward, joining the attack, and is very athletic. Could be a very nice option to have going into the Gold Cup this upcoming summer. Can also play right back as well. Serginho Dest is in a bit of a pickle right now for Milan, not playing much, but we still know he's very, very good. I thought he had a really good World Cup. Good with the ball at his feet, good going forward. I still think he is the #1 on this team. And against El Salvador and Grenada, we're going to be having a lot of the ball and attacking, so our fullbacks attacking are going to be very important. So he needs to be in this camp, and this might be a nice kickstart for him to getting back to the good form he needs to be in. Joe Scally should be on this roster as the #2 right back, in my opinion. Good defender, not the best going forward, but is playing consistently right now at the club level. And I want to see him continue to get more reps and training opportunities with the national team. And my third option is going to be Brian Reynolds. He is a guy who I think has played very good in Belgium. I've seen 1 or 2 of his games, but I've also seen a lot of tape. And it's pretty much what his ceiling, it's been advertised, a very quick, big physical guy. Good going forward, is a good crosser of the ball. But this season he's starting to get, starts every single game playing really, really well. It's finally starting to click for Brian Reynolds. He might not play, maybe give a nice 15, 20-minute cameo in one of the games, but should still be on one of this roster. And I just kind of want to try a few new guys in this upcoming camp for the cycle because we don't really have anything to lose, and I just kind of want to get some of the older guys out and some new younger guys in who could potentially offer a lot going into 2026, and Brian Reynolds could be one of those guys for sure. Alright, so on to our center backs. I'm going to make this pretty brief. Tim Ream playing at a very high level. You continue to bring him in after his very good World Cup. Is balling right now for Fulham. Chris Richards is finally back healthy. Had a very nice month-long spell for Crystal Palace until he got hurt. But I think he's going to be the center back #1 in this cycle as long as he is healthy. Just a very good, well-rounded player, and is definitely going to be a guy we're going to rely on for the next few years for sure. Cameron Carter-Vickers is playing lights out right now for Celtic. I thought he was very good against Iran in the World Cup, so he needs to be on this roster as well. And my last spot is between Mark McKenzie and Austin Trusty, but I'm going to go with Mark McKenzie. Has been playing very consistently in Belgium, playing very good. Is pretty good with the ball at his feet, so he'd be my 4th center back, but I would not be mad if Austin Trusty were to make it over Mark McKenzie. But these would be my 4 center backs for sure for this window. Alright, and for defensive mids, Tyler Adams is obviously the undisputed #6. Very important to this team. Had a very good World Cup and is playing pretty good and consistently for Leeds right now at the moment. My second 6 would be Kellen Acosta. I still think he's decent enough to be on this roster. I haven't seen enough from Tanner Tessman or Johnny Cardoso, who I don't really think is a 6 as well. So I think Kellen Acosta's experience and leadership, and I still think he is decent enough and might play a role in the Gold Cup. Might still be around for the program for a year, so I don't really have any problem bringing him in for this window. So those would be my 2 defensive mids for this camp. Alright, so on to our center minutes. First, we have Weston McKennie and Yunus Musa, both respectively playing a lot for Leeds and Valencia. Not necessarily in the best form, but are pretty easily locks on this roster. I'm going to skip Gio Reyna for a second, go on to Taylor Booth. He is currently playing lights out right now in the Eredivisie. Primarily playing as a right winger, but also can play in the midfield. Very comfortable on the ball, very good on the half turn, kind of explosive, and has some really good vision. He has a lot of clubs interested in him right now. So I expect to be making that jump this summer, but I really want to see him with the national team, primarily as an 8, because I think Hudson is going to try and mirror what he did with Berhalter in a similar setup, and I think Taylor Booth would be a little bit better as an 8 as opposed to right wing in the setup. So I want to see him play in at least one of these games in this upcoming window. And then we have Luca De La Torre, who's had a reemergence since after the World Cup, playing a lot better for Celta de Vigo, playing week in and week out, playing at a very high level, so should definitely be on this roster as well. Gio Reyna, I just kind of want to get this drama out of the way, because we all know he's a very talented, important player, so I don't want to have anything hindering him for this upcoming cycle. Just make sure we move on, and I also want to play him through the middle of the field, because I just think that's where we're going to get the most out of him. If you watched the Chelsea-Dortmund game the other day, you saw he was very comfortable in the middle of the field. Didn't really give the ball away much, and just made some really nice passes. Again, just have one of your better players in one of their positions where they're going to be able to thrive the most. Alright, so moving on to our wingers, we have Christian Pulisic. He just came back from injury the other day in the Chelsea-Dortmund game. Now, if he does want to stay back in Chelsea and really get up to 100%, I don't have any problems. But he should be good to go by the time these games roll around, and I would start him against El Salvador because that's a must-win game. Tim Weah is a guy who's been playing left back for his club in Lille, and I still think he's best as a right winger. Very good off the ball, very comfortable in combination. I just kind of want to dismantle this whole left back, right back conversation with him. For the national team, he needs to be used specifically as a winger. He is one of our most important attacking pieces. Brendan Aronson, another player who's not in the best form at the moment, but still should be on this roster. High energy guy, good on the ball, can play in the half space. Malik Tillman, a guy who's been playing really good in the Scottish Championship for Rangers. Another guy very good in the half space. Good off the ball. I don't think he's an 8. I think he's probably better suited to play on the wing for this team, but I still want to see him in this camp. And my last guy is going to be Kevin Paredes, a guy with a very high ceiling, and I want to get him integrated with this team early on in the cycle. Now, it's pretty likely he's going to be playing with the U20s for the upcoming camp in preparation for their May U20 World Cup, which is totally fine. My replacement would be Georgi Mihailovic. But again, another high energy, very good, high ceiling guy, good on the ball. I really want to see Kevin Paredes in this camp. And finally, on to our strikers, we have Josh Sargent, Ricardo Pepi, and Daryl Dike. Now, Josh Sargent has just returned from injury, but he should be good to go by the time this camp rolls around. I thought Josh Sargent had a very good World Cup, very good with his back to goal, holding the ball up and getting other players involved. Ricardo Pepi is playing for a very weak ground against side with very little attacking output, but he still managed to score a lot of goals and really do a lot of the heavy lifting for them. I think he's really improved his off-ball movement and hold-up play in his time at Groningen. So between Sargent and Pepi, I think you play one in both of the games, or you play one in one game, the other in the other. But I still think both of these guys are good options to have as a number one striker, and I kind of think it's a toss-up at the moment. My third striker would be Daryl Dike. He's scoring goals for West Brom, and I know he hasn't played with a national team in over a year and a half. So I want to get him back in this team. Now, you do have Pflock, but he's kind of in and out of the lineup. Jesus Ferreira, for me, doesn't really move me as a striker. And Brandon Vasquez, I think, isn't as good as the other 3 options. You also have Foreign Balogun, but I don't think he's going to be in this camp, unfortunately. So these would be my 3 strikers for this roster. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit those comments down below and tell me who you would like to see in this roster and what I got wrong. But overall, just really excited to see this team finally back in action. Even though they're 2 lower quality opponents, I am still very excited to see this team back on the field. Some of our bigger guys playing, so we should be able to get 2 wins and top our Nations League group, which is very exciting to see. But with that being said, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.